The rain hammered against the windows of our little cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Alaric, a 46-year-old software engineer, had built a life with Bronte. We met at university, two awkward souls finding solace in each other's company. We married young, bought our first house, and navigated the choppy waters of adulthood together. Or so I thought. It started subtly. Bronte, always meticulous about her appearance, began spending an inordinate amount of time getting ready. New clothes appeared, expensive perfumes I hadn't seen before wafted through the house. She attributed it to a new client at the architecture firm where she worked. I didn't question it. Bronte was ambitious, driven. I admired that about her. Then came the late nights at the office. "Deadlines, Alaric, you wouldn't understand," she'd say, her voice tight, her eyes avoiding mine. I did understand, actually. I'd pulled my fair share of all-nighters in my career, but these felt different, forced, unnecessary. I remember one Tuesday in particular. Bronte said she had a conference in Bristol. She kissed me goodbye, a peck on the cheek that felt colder than the November air. As she backed out of the driveway, I noticed a small, almost imperceptible tremor in her hand. It bothered me. Bronte was never nervous. That evening, I decided to surprise her by driving down to Bristol to take her out for dinner. I called her office, but the receptionist informed me that no conference was scheduled for that week. My stomach dropped. A cold dread washed over me. I tried her mobile, but it went straight to voicemail. "I'm in a meeting, leave a message." Always the professional fod. I spent the next few hours driving around Bristol, aimlessly searching for her car. I knew it was a long shot, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Around 10 p.m., I found myself near a small, upscale Italian restaurant I knew Bronte loved. On a whim, I parked across the street and watched. 20 minutes later, I saw her. Bronte emerged from the restaurant, her arm linked with a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, handsome, with a confident swagger. They were laughing, their faces close. The rain had stopped and the streetlights cast a soft glow on their faces. They looked happy. A happiness I hadn't seen in Bronte's eyes in years. I watched, paralyzed, as they walked to his car, a sleek silver Aston Martin. He opened the door for her and she leaned in and kissed him. A long, lingering kiss that shattered my world into a million pieces. I wanted to scream, to run across the street and confront them, but I couldn't move. I was frozen, trapped in a nightmare I couldn't escape. I drove home in a daze, the image of their kiss burned into my brain. The rain started again, blurring the road ahead. I pulled over to the side of the road and wept. I wept for my lost love, for my shattered trust, for the 20 years I had invested in a lie. When Bronte finally came home around midnight, she found me sitting in the dark, staring out the window. She looked surprised, then wary. "Alaric, what are you doing up?" she asked, her voice too casual, too innocent. I turned to face her, my eyes burning with anger and hurt. "I know," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I saw you, Bronte, in Bristol with him." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She just stood there, caught in the headlights of my accusation. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice rising. "Tell me the truth, Bronte, please." She finally broke down, tears streaming down her face. "His name is Gareth," she sobbed. He's a client. We've been seeing each other for a few months." A few months. The words echoed in my head. A few months of lies, of deceit, of betrayal. "How could you?" I asked, my voice cracking. "How could you do this to me, to us?" She offered no excuses, no justifications, just tears and mumbled apologies. "I don't know," she said, shaking her head. I felt alive again, something I hadn't felt in years." Her words were like a knife twisting in my gut. Alive? Was I not enough? Had I failed her somehow? The questions swirled in my head, unanswered and unanswerable. The next few weeks were a blur of anger, recriminations, and painful silences. We tried to talk, but every conversation ended in tears and accusations. The house, once a sanctuary of love and laughter, became a battleground of bitterness and resentment. I learned more about Gareth. He was a property developer, wealthy and charismatic. Everything I wasn't. Bronte had met him at a business function and they had started an affair almost immediately. She claimed it was just sex, but I knew it was more than that. It was an emotional connection, a shared passion that I had somehow failed to ignite in her. I confided in my best friend Casper, a pragmatic and no-nonsense IT consultant. He listened patiently as I poured out my heart, offering words of support and advice. "You deserve better, Alaric," he said. "Don't let her destroy you." Casper's words resonated with me. I couldn't let Bronte's betrayal define me. I had to find a way to move on, to rebuild my life. But how? After 20 years, I felt like I had lost my identity, my purpose. I was just Bronte's husband. Who was I without her? Then, one day, I stumbled upon something that changed everything. I was cleaning out Bronte's study when I found a hidden file on her computer. It was a folder labeled Projects, but inside I found something far more shocking. It was a detailed business plan for a new architecture firm, one that Bronte had been secretly developing for months. The plan included financial projections, marketing strategies, and a list of potential clients. And at the top of the list was Gareth's name. I felt a surge of anger, hotter and more intense than anything I had felt before. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about the betrayal of my trust, the manipulation, the cold-blooded calculation. Bronte hadn't just cheated on me. She had been using me, exploiting our marriage for her own personal gain. I confronted her with the business plan and she didn't deny it. She admitted that she and Gareth were planning to start the firm together, that they had been using our joint assets to fund their venture. "It's just business, Alaric," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "Don't take it personally." That was it. That was the final straw. I knew then that there was no going back, no salvaging our marriage. Bronte had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I decided to take action. I consulted with a lawyer, a sharp and ruthless woman named Ingrid who specialized in divorce cases. She advised me to gather evidence, to document everything, to prepare for a long and bitter legal battle. I followed Ingrid's advice, meticulously collecting evidence of Bronte's affair and her financial misdeeds. I discovered that she had been siphoning money from our joint accounts, funneling it into a secret offshore account. She had also been using our house as collateral for a loan to finance her new business venture. The more I learned, the angrier I became. I felt like a fool, a naive and trusting idiot who had been completely blindsided by his own wife. I vowed to make her pay, to hold her accountable for her actions. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Bronte fought dirty, accusing me of being controlling and emotionally abusive. She tried to paint herself as the victim, the oppressed wife who had been trapped in a loveless marriage. But Ingrid was prepared. She presented the evidence, methodically dismantling Bronte's lies. The judge ruled in my favor. Bronte was ordered to return the stolen funds, to relinquish her claim to our house, and to pay my legal fees. She was also barred from starting her new business venture with Gareth until the divorce was finalized. The victory was bittersweet. I had won the legal battle, but the emotional scars remained. The pain of Bronte's betrayal still lingered, a constant reminder of my broken trust, but I refused to let it define me. I decided to start a new chapter in my life, to rediscover myself, to find happiness again. I sold our cottage in the Cotswolds and moved to London, a city I had always dreamed of living in. I took a sabbatical from work, using the time to travel, to explore new hobbies, to reconnect with old friends. I also started seeing a therapist, a kind and compassionate woman named Astrid, who helped me process my emotions and rebuild my self-esteem. She taught me how to forgive, not for Bronte's sake, but for my own, to let go of the anger and resentment that were poisoning my soul. It wasn't easy. There were days when I felt overwhelmed by sadness and loneliness, but I persevered, slowly but surely piecing my life back together. I learned to enjoy my own company, to appreciate the simple pleasures of life. I discovered a passion for photography, spending hours wandering the streets of London, capturing the beauty and the chaos of the city. One evening, while attending a photography exhibition, I met a woman named Freya. She was an artist, vibrant and independent, with a wicked sense of humor. We struck up a conversation and I was immediately drawn to her energy and her passion for life. We started dating and I found myself falling in love again. Freya was everything Bronte wasn't: honest, open, and fiercely loyal. She challenged me, inspired me, and made me feel alive again. I told Freya about my past, about Bronte's betrayal, about the pain and the anger I had carried for so long. She listened without judgment, offering words of comfort and support. "You're not defined by what happened to you, Alaric," she said. "You're defined by how you choose to move forward." Freya's words gave me strength. I realized that she was right. I couldn't let Bronte's actions define my future. I had to embrace the present, to focus on the love and happiness that I had found with Freya. 1 year later, I married Freya in a small, intimate ceremony in a beautiful art gallery in London. Caspar was my best man, and Astrid was there, beaming with pride. As I looked into Freya's eyes, I knew that I had finally found my happy ending. Bronte's betrayal had been a painful chapter in my life, but it had also been a catalyst for growth and change. It had taught me the importance of self-love, of forgiveness, and of never giving up on the possibility of finding true happiness. I had lost my trust, but I had gained something even more valuable: myself. Several years later, I received an unexpected email from Bronte. She was living in Spain, working as a freelance architect. Her business venture with Gareth had failed spectacularly, leaving her financially ruined and emotionally broken. She had reached out to apologize, to ask for my forgiveness. I replied, offering her my forgiveness, not because she deserved it, but because I needed to let go of the past, to finally close that chapter of my life. I wished her well, and then I deleted her email, erasing her from my life for good. I looked at Freya, painting in her studio, sunlight streaming through the window. I smiled, knowing that I had made the right choice. I had chosen love, I had chosen happiness, and I had chosen myself. And that was all that mattered. This is my story of betrayal, resilience, and the long road to healing. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can emerge, and love can find its way back into our lives. Never give up on yourself, and never underestimate the power of forgiveness. It's the key to unlocking your own happiness and moving forward with strength and grace. Asterisk summary. Alaric, a software engineer, lived a seemingly perfect life with his wife, Bronte, until he discovered her affair with a wealthy property developer, Gareth. Bronte was not only cheating but also secretly planning a business venture with Gareth, using their joint assets. This betrayal led to a brutal divorce, where Alaric fought to reclaim his stolen funds and dignity. Despite the emotional scars, Alaric moved to London, rediscovered himself, and found love again with Freya, an artist. Years later, Bronte, financially ruined, reached out to apologize, and Alaric offered forgiveness to finally close the chapter of his life. This is a story of betrayal, resilience, and the journey to finding true happiness after heartbreak. Remember, readers, that even after the most profound betrayals, healing and a brighter future are always possible. Never lose hope, and always prioritize your own well-being.